So once again, welcome to SciPlatform's FSA Introduction webinar. Very happy to have all of you here. I've noticed from the attendee list today on the webinar that we have quite a few from North and South America, so very welcome to you guys. Good morning, I guess, for you. And we have quite a few, of course, in Europe as well. Some of you are from audit companies, and just so you know, we do offer a separate FSA audit webinar. We don't have the next one scheduled yet, but that will be upcoming, so keep an eye open for that. And we also have quite a few of you are SciPlatform members. So hopefully this is an introduction to a program that may be implemented within your organizations or something you may have heard about within the various supply chains you're active in. But regardless, a very warm welcome to you all, and hopefully this is a useful webinar for you. So today I'll give a very brief introduction to what SciPlatform is about. Last week we provided a crash course on SciPlatform, so if you would like some more details on Sci in general, you could request that webinar link from Marco at the end of the session. So I'll go over SciPlatform and then I'll dive into the FSA program itself. I'll provide an overview of the different aspects of the program, and then we'll look at the implementation specific aspects for the FSA. Again, we do have a separate webinar just on implementation methodology. So if you're interested in the details of implementation, we do have links to the previous webinars that we've done on implementation. And then I'll go into a few examples of projects that SciPlatform is managing and some of our members as well on actually implementing and using the FSA in various regions. And also within that, you'll see areas for collaboration for working in various supply chains. So what is SciPlatform? It was started 15 years ago in the food industry by three main companies, Unilever, Danone, and Nestlé, and they're of course still active within the platform. We now have over 80 members within that 15 years. There's been quite a bit of growth. And what stayed fundamental to the program, to the platform, sorry, is that pre-competitive nature of how we work. So we offer a safe and pre-competitive environment for companies to come together and discuss sustainability challenges specific to sustainable agriculture. So we do work in other aspects of the supply chain, but for Sci, the focus really is on the agricultural production of food and beverage ingredients. So within SciPlatform, we have working groups, committees, local focus, and of course the FSA program. Within the working groups, we have the arable and vegetable, fruit and nuts, which I manage as I mentioned, beef, and dairy. So within those working groups, we very much come together to discuss commodity-specific challenges and look at potential solutions and collaboration efforts. Within the Horizon Committee, it's very much a forward-looking program, and it strives to identify the up-and-coming issues or things that may be gaining new ground, and to ensure that our members are able to address issues in a very proactive way and be aware of agricultural issues that are coming up. For the local focus, we have programs in Australia and Brazil. The Australia program is very much separate from SciPlatform in general. It is managed as a separate platform and has separate membership, but of course we do work with them. It is very much a shared initiative as far as what we want to achieve, but the ways of working can be quite different between the two platforms. The Brazil Committee is internal to SciPlatform itself, and within that we focus on a wide range of commodities, both livestock and crops, specific to the sourcing regions within Brazil. We also, of course, have the FSA program, and I'll dive into that in detail in a moment. So the way SciPlatform is structured is we have our members, which are the companies who pay their membership fees, and then we have the executive committee, which are the elected members who strive to steer and provide that strategic vision for where we want to go and the concrete steps to achieve that within the platform. We have an advisory council that's separate from the platform that is made up of external stakeholders, and we address key concerns with them to ensure that we're working in a way that is credible and forward-looking. So under the executive committee, we have the SAI Secretariat, and I'm a member of that. And we lead then the working groups, committees, the FSA program, and the local initiatives. So that's a brief snapshot of how we work internally. This is again a quick glance at our membership. You may recognize many of these logos, but some you may not. And that is mainly the key message here is we do have a wide range of membership, from quite small producers and suppliers to some of the larger brand companies which you may have heard of, like Coca-Cola and Unilever and others. So we do have affiliate members as well who are not food companies, but rather organizations that are active in the food and beverage supply chains. So how do we work? There's three main focus for SAI platform. We collect and exchange information and learnings from projects and research. We strive to harmonize and engage within the supply chains, and we collaborate to actually implement projects on the ground. And this is very much how we work within the FSA program as well. But for SAI platform, it's applicable to all commodities within our focus. And for the FSA specifically, I'll get into that in a moment on how we focus there. But we do strive to have the SAI platform and the FSA program clearly linked to ensure that we're moving forward in a cohesive manner. Within SAI platform, we strive for the engagement along the supply chain. So we have members, active members, who are everything from farm cooperatives all the way up to the manufacturers. And I'm not suggesting this is an actual supply chain. This is just a hypothetical example of where our members place within that supply chain. So we do have traders, processors, manufacturers, and retailers as well. So the way we work is, excuse me, is we strive to ensure that there's knowledge exchange and collaboration on sustainable agriculture throughout the supply chains. And by having members that are active in each of these different focus areas, it allows us to build much stronger projects and have much more meaningful knowledge exchange as well. So now we'll get to the heart of what you guys are actually here for today. So we'll focus on the FSA program now. Within the program, I understand that there's quite a few terms that are thrown around. There's some confusion about what everything means. And that's the point of today's webinar, is to strive to address some of that confusion, but also provide a lot more examples to further your understanding of the program. So SAI platform with the FSA program strives to scale sustainable production, and that really is the key here, that we're not striving to create a new specific focused program or look at a specific region. We really are trying for a program that can address all crops globally, and on beef it does focus on Europe, and there's various reasons for that. But on the crop side, it is very much a global focus for all commodities. So all crops grown anywhere in the world are applicable for the FSA program. The way we ensure that we're a flexible program is by offering several different implementation options, by building partnerships, and having that mutual recognition. So that is something that helps us build a lot of flexibility into the program, and of course being cost effective as well. And that credibility piece is something we also focus strongly on, and we do that by ensuring that we have expert review and input into the program and documentation, and also we strive for strong governance built into the program as well. So what is the FSA itself? It, of course, the fundamental is the tool, which is a questionnaire of approximately 110 to 120 questions, depending if you're talking crops or beef. And it really focuses on the three main pillars: the environmental, economic, and social. So we strive to have very much a broad focus for the FSA to ensure we're capturing all aspects of sustainability for on-farm production. Within the FSA, we've created a scoring system of bronze, silver, and gold, which you may have already heard about. And the fundamental there is that we've created that to facilitate communication expectations within the program. So the platform does not determine which level is considered sustainable. If a company chooses to have a sustainability requirement, they may determine that bronze or silver, for example, meets their sustainable sourcing goals, but that's not a decision by SciPlatform. And we do have the 3 different levels of bronze, silver, and gold, and those are made up with how much of each of the question types, essential, basic, and advanced, are addressed in the assessments. The FSA program, of course, is much more than just the questionnaire, much more than just those 112 questions. As I mentioned, we have the governance, which focuses on the strategy and vision for the program. We have the assessment, which is related to the questionnaire, the scoring, but also the benchmarking of external standards. We provide supply chain management through the online tool and guides, and we're also looking to build a smallholder program as well. Through the verification and integrity, we really focus on the implementation framework, which looks at how you can implement the FSA, and it also is where we build the audit program and revise the FSA as well. Continuous improvement is really at the heart of the program, where we want to focus on providing improvement for on-farm production, but also improvement within the program itself. We look to develop action plans with farms and supply chains and support priority setting, and through that we are also developing training modules. On collaboration and engagement or alignment, it's really the engagement with standards that we really do the lion's share of this. So Joe Rushton in our team is responsible for the engagement with standards. He benchmarks the actual standard against the FSA and then provides the clear communication for the score of that and how well aligned we are. And we really do strive to work closely with the standards. And on communications, we provide a toolbox for members and non-members to use when related to the FSA. And of course, stakeholder engagement is key for the program as well. There's various benefits of the FSA for companies, and these are all on our website if you want to review them more. But the main thing for companies is that we really strive for that one reference for what sustainable agriculture is about. And that really provides the opportunity to collaborate in supply chain so that we're saving time and resources for everybody by providing that harmonized benchmark. And it really is to help companies be able to achieve their sustainability objectives in a way that's meaningful for their farmers. And for that, we really strive to create benefits for the producers, for the farming community. So we want to help improve performance, but also economics are also an important aspect of sustainability, so we do strive to reduce costs. So whether it's costs related to assessments so that it reduces the number of assessments that are required, or it could be that there's reduced costs by improving yields and efficiency on farm as well. And another aspect to the FSA program for farmers is it may help to improve market access as well. So now we'll go into a brief summary of FSA implementation options. But as I mentioned, there is a separate webinar on this. So if you're wanting more detail than I provide today, please do have a look at that link that Marco can provide for details on the implementation webinar. So this is a fairly complicated looking slide, but hopefully the explanation won't be. Hopefully I can simplify it somewhat. So there's different ways the FSA can be used. The first way is it can be used as a company reference. Many companies have their own internal code for what sustainable agriculture means to them. As an example, Unilever has their SAC. Coca-Cola has the SAGP, Pepsi has SFI, and I wish I could remember what all those stand for, but essentially it's all about their definition of what sustainable agriculture is. Other companies, such as Heineken, have chosen to use FSA directly. Instead of creating their own code, they've decided to use the FSA. So that's one option. Other companies like Coca-Cola and the others I mentioned, have decided to use the FSA as their external focused code. So they use it as the reference, even though they have an internal code, to have as that one definition for what sustainable agriculture means to them. And then the ways it can be used on farm is it can be used as a questionnaire, so an actual self-assessment by the farms, and then you can have that verified through a verification audit if you wish. The other way it can be used is as a standards benchmark. So if your group of farmers, for example, are already RSPO certified, you can have it. RSPO has been benchmarked against the FSA and it has a certain score. And then you know that that group of farmers is already, for example, bronze FSA. And within this whole system, the whole focus, really, the outcome that we strive for is continuous improvement. So you can use the FSA simply as a guide to identify areas for improvement, or you can use it as an assessment and a benchmark and then have a very detailed gap analysis as well. So if we quickly look at the benchmarking process, the main message here is that we engage with the standard owner. We don't strive to go out and benchmark a specific standard without having the standard owner involved in that process. So we have a very detailed dialogue with them to identify how well aligned we are and ensure that the performance level that's determined for that standard, so whether it's equivalent to FSA bronze, silver, or gold as examples, is agreed between SciPlatform and the standard owner. And then, of course, we can continue to work towards further alignment. And then once one of the systems is revised, we, of course, have to redo this process again. For the on-farm self-assessment, it can be used simply with your a sample of your farms, do the self-assessment, and then you create gap analysis and action plans based on that. Or it may be that you wish to have the whole process verified. And so you have the self-assessments done, and then you can go on to do verification audits, and then you can do the performance level claim of bronze, silver, or gold, and then create the action plans to work towards continuous improvement. So the self-assessment and verification process is a 3-year cycle. And the reason we've done that is we wish that there to be 1 year of assessment and verification and 2 years focusing on action plans and improvement. We really want the farming communities to become much better at farming and much more sustainable in the long term in a way that makes sense for them, not for us, but for them. We don't want them to become better and better at being audited. That's not the desired outcome. We really want to support the whole concept of continuous improvement, both for ourselves and for the farm base. There's 2 different ways you can do the on-farm self-assessment. It can either be through the Excel file or the online tool. And I should clarify here that the on-farm self-assessment is only related to the crops FSA. For beef, in Europe, they have gone the route of only doing the benchmark and engagement with standards as their preferred method into the industry. So that is a slightly separate discussion there. But for the FSA for crops, you can either use an Excel file or the online tool. It provides the same answers, the same scoring. So it's whatever's easiest to implement in that supply chain. Within the online tool, and actually the Excel as well, you get immediate score, so you know whether you come out at not yet bronze or bronze, silver, or gold, and also where the gaps are. So it helps you create your action plans. So for the action plans, the first step is really identifying gaps, and that can either be through the self-assessments, but actually can also be done through the benchmark standards as well. So you create you identify the gaps, and then you look at the range of needs for your farmers. So it may be that some of the gaps are determined that there's not a strong water management aspect for your farmers, that they may be really scoring poorly on water management, and that needs to be improved. But if you're not in a water scarce area, or if you're not in an area that really has that as the priority need, then perhaps that's not the most meaningful thing. So that's where you really need to compare that range of needs versus what the priorities are for that region and also for that farm base. And then you can plan for the improvements and in the future for that reassessment as well, if that's the direction you wish to go. So now if we look at some of the implementation of the FSA that we have globally, within the SAD platform, we provide support to companies, specifically our members and their suppliers, for FSA project implementation. We provide pre-competitive meetings, and that's where companies can come together, buyers and suppliers and anybody else in the supply chain, to really discuss some of the challenges of sustainability, but also the opportunities. And we ensure that's done pre-competitively, so discussions related to pricing and tonnage and all of that is not able to be discussed, so we can really focus on the heart of the issues. We also provide input from the FSA program directly to your supply chain. So if you're struggling with identifying the best implementation option, that is something that we can support with by providing, having that overarching view of what the program is striving to achieve, understanding your supply chain, and then finding that best partnership, that best way forward for that supply chain. We provide various FSA tools, such as the self-assessment questionnaire itself, the verification rules, all of the benchmarking results so that you don't have to do those yourselves, and that's all on our website. And of course, we also provide that network, which is so key to be able to build up programs that you want to implement, whether it's involving various NGOs or various suppliers in that supply chain. Creating that network can sometimes be challenging, and that's something that we do provide support for at SAD Platform. For FSA projects, many of our companies, members and non-members, are implementing the FSA as a self-assessment tool on farm. Some are using it directly as benchmarking, so using the comparison for Rainforest Alliance and UTS and Red Tractor as examples. But also many of our members are using it as an engagement tool, as a way to talk to their farm base about what they actually need for sustainability, how they think it can benefit the farmers, and really use it as a way to engage and support the discussion on sustainability. It's been used with a wide range of agricultural materials so far. Everything from fruit like pineapple and oranges and strawberries to hops and tomatoes and basil, and of course some of the arable crops like corn and wheat and oilseeds, and of course beef, as I mentioned previously. And it is applicable for a wide range of farmers and has been used for smallholders in Africa to, some of the larger organizations in Brazil and the US, to farm cooperatives in France. Within that, I should state that while it has been used for smallholders in various regions, there have been various challenges identified. So we are looking to further develop the smallholder program to better address some of these challenges. So it is applicable in that area, but of course smallholders do offer additional challenges, and we are working to create a deeper program to help support companies when they're implementing with smaller farming communities. So SAD Platform does manage various programs for our members, but of course members do their own as well. So here's just a snapshot of the programs that SAD Platform manages itself related to the FSA. We have a rice program in Italy where we've had some training of both farmers and their suppliers on the FSA program, and that seems to be going quite well. So if you're interested in sourcing rice from Northwest Italy, you may want to discuss with Marco, who's on the webinar today. As I mentioned, we do have the FSA beef in Europe. That is very much focused on existing standards like Red Tractor, as well as various others like Bourdbia and others. And that seems to be progressing well. We have an orange program that we're working on smallholders in Brazil, and Solidaridad is the main manager for that. Within that program, what we've done is combined the FSA itself with Solidaridad's Rural Horizons tool so that it's essentially their tool with the FSA inside. So it's a much more bespoke, focused way of working in Brazil. And then we, of course, have the sugar beet project in Europe, and that seems to be expanding beyond Europe and potentially beyond beet into cane as well. But that project is very much into the expansion phase right now, and Nick Betts, who manages our arable group, is the one responsible for that, if you want to get some more details on that one. Of course, we have many projects on the FSA outside of Side Platform where we provide some support to our members and non-members, but it's really being implemented in apparently over 32 countries by more than 40 companies, and I'm not sure how many commodities actually is listed here, but it's really quite a wide range. And of course, we're striving to gather the learnings from all of these projects that are ongoing and share that amongst our membership. That's really for us the key with the FSA program, is because we're all using that same reference. We have a very strong foundation to share information, identify how we can work better together, see if there's some supply chains where there's multiple buyers or multiple suppliers who could come together to collaborate really on implementing that sustainable agriculture together. So just to finish off, we do have an FSA website separate to Side Platform, so it's fsatool.com, and that's where you'll find our toolbox with most of the information. So there's links to webinars, the benchmarking results, FAQs, the implementation framework. It's a real mix of everything that we have related to the FSA program. We have a few new documents that are there as well, so we do try to keep that website up to date with all of the new documents we have available, as well as links to webinars and things. So you have the, on the screen there is the link to the FSA email address. So if you have questions specific to FSA, please do email fsatool@sideplatform.org, and we'd be happy to answer your questions. Hopefully this webinar has answered some of them. But Marco, now if we could open up the questions. I don't know if anybody has any questions. I may have forgotten actually to mention. You can put your questions directly into the question box on the right-hand side. We'd be happy to go through any of the questions that you do have. Marco, if I could hand it over to you and see what questions we have today.
Yes, Jenny. Hello, everyone. We have one question. It's about actually how does the FSA work with the field to market initiative in the United States?
Okay, great. Excellent question. Thank you. So the field to market is a system that we've engaged with and we've benchmarked. We actually have an MOU with them, so we have created a way of working with them. The benchmark with field to market was quite challenging because it isn't a qualitative assessment. The FSA is very much qualitative related to management systems on farm, whereas field to market is much more about metrics or measuring quantitatively. So it was a very tricky benchmark that we did with field to market. We have since published the results on that about a month ago, which is available on our website, I believe. So that is something that we do have available, and it's part of our standard benchmarking, but it was a bit more challenging than the usual ones.
Thank you very much, Jenny. We have another question. The question is there any FSA group in China?
Okay, so I am aware of several activities in China for the FSA related to some of our members. Unfortunately, I'm not sure if that information is confidential, so I can't provide which companies are active in China. But yes, it is being used on fruit, various fruit crops in China. I'm not sure if it's actually been verified yet or if they're just into the assessment phase, but it has started at a low level within China.
Please let us know if Jenny answered to your question, and then we can go on with other question. I can see that there are plenty now. So second question is the FSA program being recognized by any NGOs or like, for example, ILO?
So we have several NGOs who are on our advisory committee, and also they're a key stakeholder for us within the FSA program as part of our stakeholder engagement. We haven't been, as far as I know, not formally recognized by an NGO in that they haven't written off saying that they formally approve of the system. But we do ensure that we work with NGOs towards building that credibility within the system.
Thank you very much. We have another question. How does the mutual recognition works? It is for the audits.
So the mutual recognition is something that we strive for in various ways. So SAD Platform does not carry out audits. We do a formal approval process for audit companies, and we ensure that they're trained up so that they can perform FSA audits on behalf of our members. So we provide the framework and the tools, but we don't provide the actual auditors. So that is one way that we do mutual recognition. But we also do that through the use of benchmarks, so that we state that if, for example, farmers are already complying with Rainforest Alliance, they wouldn't need to do the FSA on top of that as well. The benchmark result alone should be adequate for companies when they're sourcing through Rainforest Alliance to also be able to recognize it as FSA volumes.
Thank you very much. Again, please let us know if Jenny answered fully to your question. If not, we can follow up later. We have another question. How will be the traceability system to the juice chain?
Okay. So I assume this is related to orange juice production, since that seems to be the juice supply chain that is most far along for the FSA. This is applicable for all aspects of the FSA, though, is we do not build in chain of custody audits. So we very much just focus on audits on farm and those who manage the farmers. The further up the supply chain is for companies to perform those audits themselves if they're going to be making those public claims. So we don't go so far as doing chain of custody audits.
Thank you very much, Jenny. We are receiving a lot of questions. And the next one is, has the French legislation been benchmarked?
So that's an easy question. Yes. In certain areas of the world, we have benchmarked legislation, and we have a list of those that are available through Joe Rushton that should be on our website as well in the benchmarking results. So if you have questions specific to country legislation benchmarks, you can contact Joe Rushton. But yes, the French legislation has already been done.
Thank you, Jenny. Are there any self-assessment for traceability?
I assume this comes back to that chain of custody question further up the supply chain. So our self-assessments and audits are very much for on-farm claims and within a farm management group. We don't have self-assessments for further along the supply chain into factories and things. So for us, it's very much focused on farm.
Thank you, Jenny. Another question is about, we are on corn crop in China and we are having challenges on how to handle the pesticide, herbicide packaging disposal. Where can I get some guide?
Okay, so that's typically not something that we provide at SAD Platform, in that we don't work so directly in a specific region unless it's for one of our projects. For pesticide and herbicide packaging management, I suggest you go to the company that originally provided the chemicals. So whether it's Bayer, Syngenta, or whoever else, they should be able to provide adequate disposal in your region. That's something that the companies should be able to provide for you.
Thank you, Jenny. Another question is it possible to start our own FSA project within the SAI platform as sugar beet project in Europe, or could we join to the existing projects?
So first off, you're very welcome. All companies are very welcome to join SAI platform projects. Many of them are only for SAI platform members, but some are open to other members, to other companies as well. So you can contact us specifically if you have an interest. For example, the sugar beet project is still open to non-members of SAI platform as well, but some are closed. How we start new projects within SAI platform is based on member demand. So if we have enough members requesting it, we can start working on a specific region. If you're wanting to implement the FSA in your own supply chain, you can do that. You do not need to be a SAI member to use the FSA program. It is something that is available for all companies globally.
Yeah. Thank you. Another question. Is it possible to leave self-assessment information public?
So related to the online tool, all of the information is considered anonymous unless whoever owns that information wishes to share it. So it is very much something that is kept anonymous until you wish to share it with your buyers. If a company is wanting to make a claim about the FSA performance level, like if a farmer or a supplier is wanting to be able to say that they're FSA silver, then that needs to be audited first, and those results then can be stated publicly for a certain volume.
Thank you. As part of the SAI platform, is there a tool to share the audit results?
No, not yet. As far as I know, within the online tool, that is a capability that they're considering, but it hasn't been built into the tool yet, as far as I know.
Thank you. Is there a specific system for the organization that will carry out the verifications?
Specific system, I'm not sure what you're referring to there in that question, sorry. We do have the audit guide, which clearly states how audits need to be carried out. The implementation framework states the rules for how to sample and things related to the audits, and then we have the audit guide, which helps support that. So that may be what you're referring to. If not, we may need to have another discussion on that.
We have a hand raised, so I'm going to unmute the person who asked for asking the question. Can you hear me?
Who did you unmute, Marco, so they know?
Yeah, I think, wait a second. Well, it doesn't work, so I'm going to actually, we have other questions. Maybe he wrote his question here, and the other question is does the scheme measure improvements? For example, as a result of applying FSA, a farm has saved X meter of water per year or X tons of fertilizers.
Okay, excellent question, and I did miss explaining that. The FSA is a qualitative assessment, so we look at questions related to management practices, not actually measuring outcomes like meters cubed of water or fertilizer savings and things. We are looking to implement specific metrics related to sustainability indicators into the tool, which would be voluntary, so it would start to look at things like that. And we are also members of the Cool Farm Alliance, which has produced the Cool Farm tool where more of these types of things can be measured. The FSA itself, though, does not directly measure those, so we're looking at other options for companies who do wish to do quantitative outcomes.
Thank you, Jenny. Another question, is the online FSA tool only available for SAI platform members and for their invited suppliers?
Correct. So you need to have access to the online tool. You need to be either a SAI member or invited to use it by a SAI member. However, the Excel tool is available for any company to implement.
Thank you. We have another question. I would like to know how many farms from total amount of farms in the holding should participate in the FSA program? All farms, or is it possible that just to choose some?
Okay, so I go into more detail about the implementation options in that other webinar, but to answer this quickly, all farms need to participate in the program, in that they need to be aware of what the program is about, what we're striving to achieve, but only a sample of those farms need to do the self-assessment, and only a sample of them need to be audited as well. So that's the quick answer, but of course in the implementation webinar I go into much more detail on that as well.
Thanks. Is it possible to run an FSA process in Argentina close to barley chain?
Interesting question, in that I believe there is some interest already in Argentina. I'm not sure if it's barley or other arable crops, so grain crops, but there is some interest in implementing in Argentina. So as I mentioned, the FSA can be used with all crops globally. So yes, there's no reason it couldn't be implemented with barley in Argentina.
Thank you. If we are a global company and the membership is regarding one country, the other countries should be members as well?
So for side platform, membership is for the whole company. So we don't do it based on a specific commodity. So if you're wanting to become a SAI member, it then encompasses all commodities that you source or produce. If you're wanting to just do the FSA program, then that can be just for one commodity like sugar beet. And as I mentioned, then you do not need to be a SAI member to be able to do that, but you do get access to additional support and tools like the online tool if you're a member. So that's a company decision how you want to be engaged, which level works the best for you.
Thank you, Jenny. All the FSA process can be done by the platform? I'm not sure.
So the FSA program does not actually do any of the implementation. I'm not sure if that was the question. We support member companies in implementing by giving advice and the tools, but we don't do the actual implementation on the ground, and we don't do the actual audit program. We provide the tools so that members can do that themselves.
Thank you. We have another question, which is, can you explain a little bit more the benefits of being a member of SAI platform and the use of the online tool?
That would probably be, the benefits of being a member is probably best covered in the crash course to SAI platform. Marco, it may be useful to provide the link for that webinar that we did last week, since we're getting so many of the membership type questions. For the online tool for the FSA, it is something that is useful for members. Some members are using it, some are staying with the Excel just for simplicity at this phase. If you have specific questions about the online tool, I suggest you contact Joe Rushton in our team, as he's the one who manages that on our behalf.
Thanks, Jenny. We have another question. There will be a special webinar for arable and vegetable crops?
No, we don't have any on arable or vegetable crops specific. As I mentioned in the implementation webinar for FSA, we do go into some more specific examples. But we manage the arable and veg working groups separately from the FSA program, and they do have their own meetings and events specific for arable and veg crops. So if you're interested in that, you'd need to contact Nick Betts in our team, who manages that working group.
Thank you, Jenny. I don't see any other question. If you have any other question, you can, of course, write it in the panel on your right or raise your hand. If not, we can end this webinar. I don't see other questions, Jenny.
Okay, well, thank you, everybody, for joining us today. Hopefully the question answers were clear for everyone. If not, please do contact us and we can try to follow up and clarify for you. Marco will be sending a link to this webinar recording as well as to, I believe, the crash course on said platform as well. And I would like to thank all of you for joining us today, and I hope to talk to you again soon. So have a great afternoon, everybody. Thank you very much.